inspired by outstanding entrepreneurs, dream builders, and difference makers. Are you ready? Let's go. Hello and welcome to episode 7 of Dreamers and Doers Optimize Your Health, Optimize Your Life. I'm Karoline Stevens from Journey to Empowerment. I'm a life mastery consultant. And I'm so thrilled today to be welcoming my special guest, Julie Tilt. Hi, Julie. So glad that you're here.
Carolina, thank you so much for having me on your show. This is very exciting. I've always admired what you do, so this is a thrill to be on your show.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that you're here, Julie. And so let me tell you a little bit about Julie. So Julie and her husband, they founded Hummingbird Wholesale, and that's a multi-award winning organic food manufacturer and distributor. Not just one award, it's like multi-awards. So that's amazing. And it's a business with a big vision. And they've incorporated humanity into their business relationships. And they're also focusing on sustainable farming practices. But Julie didn't stop there. Her love for holistic health led her to a new dream. And so maybe I'll just let Julie tell her story herself. And so, Julie, you created this dream business, this amazing hummingbird wholesale business. And so, what happened that prompted you to move on to an even different dream?
Well, when I was young, I always wanted to be a doctor, and life happened, and that never came to fruition. So this is becoming a health coach is really my life dream that has manifested, and I feel so grateful. I'm having the time of my life, really. My husband and I bought Hummingbird Wholesale from our dear friend in 2003. And it was excellent training for me in business. And it's the business started with just my husband and I was the office manager and sales, customer service, and Charlie was warehouse and logistics and purchasing. And and it started with just he and I in 2003, and now we have 47 employees. So, and it's really a wonderful business. It's very gratifying because, we not only have excellent customers who have the same vision and mission and values, but we work with amazing farmers. We work directly with many farmers, and we've increased the organic acreage in the Pacific Northwest and in other parts of the country as well. So our business, we're all about sustainability in every way, even in small details. Like, it took my husband a really long time to figure out how to put invoices on half-size piece of paper. So we're using half the amount of paper. And that's just an example. I'm just giving you one example of all the little things that we do, just to make the business more sustainable. But we sell all the things that you would find in the bulk food section of a natural food store, like beans and grains, seeds, nuts, dried fruits, sweeteners, condiments, etc. And then we make a lot of our own products, like sprouted granolas, sprouted nuts, trail mixes, etc. And we make all of our own nut butters and things like that, oils. So the operating and owning Hummingbird was an excellent training ground for me to propel myself into being, a sole business owner in my health coaching practice. It gave me more confidence. And so anyway, 5 years ago, I went back to school and got a certificate in health coaching. And since then, I continually take courses to learn the cutting edge tools and technologies in health. And it's just been a wonderful journey. I love it. I'm having so much fun.
I can see it. You really light up when you talk about health coaching. But first of all, I want to really acknowledge the amazing work that you've done in your region to really heighten the awareness of sustainable farming, sustainable business, and really being a forerunner of that and supporting farmers and yeah, having a really big impact. Right, so that's really amazing. And so how did this dream kind of make itself known? How did you know that it was time to shift and go back to school?
Mm. Well, I had more, my girls, we have two daughters and they went off to college and, they have their lives. And so I had more time. And, I started just feeling that, feeling that tickle, like I really want to accomplish my dream for this lifetime. So yeah, I just had a fire lit under me. And when I want to do something, I my husband will tell you, I'll figure out how to do it.
Oh, that's awesome because that's and for everybody listening here right now, I mean that's a great thing that you're saying about having a fire lit to really get in touch with what the dream is and to allow it, right? Was there any time where you kind of tried to talk yourself out of it and stay in the other business, or where you had some doubts or resistance?
No, no, not at all. No, not at all. I loved working at Hummingbird, but it really wasn't it doesn't really match my skill sets perfectly. I mean, I loved working with the people, but this is much more in alignment with who I am and I think what I came here for. And um, when I first started as a health coach, I definitely had reservations, and I was definitely intimidated and felt, how could I don't know if you ever had that feeling of, like, what kind of audacity do I have to, to help people, and that feeling of being an imposter, that,
Yeah.
and all that came up, and then in the beginning, also just feeling like I didn't have enough skills yet. But, you know, um, I just had to dive in and start. In fact, when I look back, I think I wish I could have all those people that came the first year come back again.
Yeah.
I have so many more skills now. I'm so much more proficient. But I mean, you just have to dive in and start somewhere, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I love that you're saying there's feelings of who am I and imposter. I don't have the skills. And I love that you're mentioning because our dream is usually out of our comfort zone. And yeah, we're doing something we may not have ever done before, and so the fears and the lack of maybe self-belief, they all come up, and often they are the things that then make us shrink back in the comfort zone, right? And I love that you just said, just to dive in and start somewhere. And I'm sure, Julie, that the people who saw you in your first year, that you made a big difference in their lives, that you attracted the right people at the right time from where you were at, you know.
Yeah, I think you're right. Actually, I think you're right. I did have a good impact on them. That's true. You're right. That's but still, my skill set now is much more developed, and I have excellent tools. I feel like I have the best tools in the world to really help people you know, to turn the dial, to really make a shift with their chronic health issues, not just their physical issues, but even mental health issues as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fantastic. And so I had just to briefly share, I had a conversation with Julie, and I wasn't planning to sign up with a health coach at all. But after I had a conversation, I thought, oh my gosh, I want what Julie can give me. And I have got a few niggles. In fact, I had for one whole year, I had a shoulder problem, and it baffled me that I couldn't resolve it. And I've seen chiropractors and kinesiologists and all sorts of things. But the shoulder kind of, nothing led to really sustained change. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to sign up with Julie, and I'm going to take my health to the next level. And so, meanwhile, also, I had created a vision of what I really wanted my health to be. And I saw myself swinging on rings and things like that, which I couldn't up until now do. And I believe that the vision holding the high vibration actually led me to even the impulse to asking Julie and having this conversation, you
Nice,
know? And
nice.
that's what the dream does. When we're really focusing on the vision, then it attracts to us the people and resources that help us to reach our dream. And so, yeah, so we had this conversation, and I said, I want to sign up. And so we've worked maybe for 6 weeks now or something, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
I love what Julie does. You really cover all aspects. You look at the electromagnetic frequencies. You look at our diet, of course. You're looking at just the right nutrients. You're looking at detox. You're looking at lymph drainage. You're giving me exercises. And just after 6 weeks now, after our last session, I suddenly noticed my shoulders getting better. It feels different. It feels like, oh my gosh, And so I'm really, really thrilled, and it took me by surprise. So, but there's a definite improvement, and yeah, I'm super grateful to you.
Nice.
Yeah,
I'm
whatever you've done, whatever, it's probably all the things together.
nice. I'm so excited for you, Carolina. That's so exciting. I love.
Yeah, thank you so much. I thought, man, do I have to live with this, or what's going on? And the mind sort of goes into limiting kind of. But Julie, I would love for you to share with our listeners about German new medicine, because it's really fascinating.
Yes. Well, in fact, I just had one of my clients just told me earlier that this is the first time she has been able to operate without taking her pharmaceutical medication for fibromyalgia pain, you know,
Wow.
body pain, and she just stopped taking her medication, and she's not in pain. And so this is the kind of thing that we can accomplish with tools like German new medicine and detox and so forth, and pain, understanding where pain comes from. But German new medicine is one of my top tools right now. And I'm seeing a huge difference in all of my clients. I have, well, German new medicine is, I should tell you, it's a whole different paradigm shift. It's completely different than the current medical model, the current paradigm that we're using today. Even things like cancer, these extra cells that are growing in our body are seen in a different light, that they're actually there to help us and to heal us from certain traumas that we've experienced. And so and people are healing themselves of all different kinds of chronic issues with the tools of German new medicine. And yeah, it's really gratifying to see it right before my eyes. And it's so empowering for people to know that the body is so wise. Our bodies really know what they're doing. Mother nature has us, she's holding us. And
Yeah.
we can trust our body that it knows what it's doing.
I love that. I love to acknowledge that symptoms are there for a reason, and that our body, there's infinite intelligence that's also working through our bodies and doing the very best it can to maybe compensate for for trauma or whatever we may have experienced. And we just try to get rid of the symptoms. But if we can really get in touch with the core issues that are there at the root, then we can, yeah, then the symptoms just fall away, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And sometimes that's all it takes is for people to understand what the original cause was. And, it's often a trauma or some kind of conflict that we've experienced in our life that, and then the body created this special biological program, it's called in German New Medicine. And it's actually a biological program that is designed to heal us and to support us and to protect us, from experiencing that kind of trauma in the future. So it's brilliant. It's totally, the body is genius. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's really, through the journey work, I help people to access the subconscious and get to emotional issues and release them in belief systems, which is super, super effective. But I really like that approach that you took, because we can always look at things from a different angle, and it's really thorough, and I feel like it's getting me in touch through a different channel and a different avenue. Maybe even opening doors into my subconscious that I kind of still had closed. It's kind of sneaking in through the back door, and in that way, helping me to release and become aware and release things I didn't really even know that they were still there.
Yeah, yeah. And we store these traumas in our body in different areas. And another one of the tools that I use is called autonomic response testing and applied psychoneurobiology. And I use muscle testing and can figure out where in the body we're holding different traumas. And then I have different tools that we can use to release those traumas. And it's amazing. It's really amazing what can happen. I have one woman who, after helping her to look at these traumas and face them, in her life, she was able to lose over 100 pounds.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah. But we don't realize how powerful the subconscious mind can be and when we can bring those traumas to the surface and then consciously direct them and change them, then the physics that hold these traumas in place can just dissolve.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And the life force can then flow again because the blocks have been released, right? So the life force that's there can just go about its business healing. It knows what to do.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah. So maybe if you would just maybe share one case study of somebody, or if you can do that.
Sure. Okay, so I have a 51-year-old woman who came to me and she thought she had acid reflux. She thought that's what it was because she had all kinds of symptoms, but pain in her esophagus, spasmodic coughing, and throat pain, and uh, we uncovered that in her childhood, her parents went through a divorce, and then she acquired a new stepmom, and the stepmom was very controlling
Hmm.
and sort of gaslighted she and her sisters, and so there was a lot of fear that she grew up with, and so what we uncovered was that she really there was a scare fright conflict that it's one of the conflicts in that we talk about in German New Medicine, and so her her body created this program in order to try to protect her. And so when she realized where it came from, then she was able to see how she was recreating it in her current life, where her stepmom built her own school, and this woman worked at her stepmom's school when she became an adult, but then had to leave because of their conflicts together. And now she's been going to school and having all these symptoms come up, just taking courses at the community college so that she can increase her skills for her business. And what we noticed is that the days when she goes to school, she doesn't have symptoms, but then the days when she's off, she has all these terrible symptoms, like the spasmodic coughing and the scratchy throat and the sore throat and so forth. And when we discovered that it's really linked back to the trauma that she experienced with her stepmom, she was able to resolve it. And so now she starts noticing when she gets the scratchy throat, and then she can talk to her psyche, and she can actually interrupt that cellular pattern that is happening over and over. It had become a chronic issue, but now she can interrupt it and actually stop it in its tracks. And so that's the power that we can achieve just by this understanding, just by determining, where these chronic issues originated. What was the trauma that started it in the first place. And then just that understanding brings this huge awareness and ability for the conscious mind to take over and take charge.
Yeah.
It's really amazing.
Yeah, it is. It is amazing, and yet it makes so much sense. And for our listeners, I mean, nobody goes through life unscathed, right? So most of us have had some trauma through life, or as kids, and things that we didn't know how to deal with, and then just kind of shove them under the carpet to keep going, and yeah, and to just manage and survive sometimes. And so just to imagine that those things don't just go away by themselves. They usually at some stage they come out in some way, and that's the good thing, the good news, because when we release them and let them go, and often they come out as physical symptoms, right? Or they come out as dysfunctional relationships, or money problems, or mental health, anything like that. And often we hit crossroads, and then that's the good news, because then we're finally forced to look at those issues and deal with them, and as a result we come to a much greater wholeness, right? Would you agree?
Exactly. Absolutely. Yep. Well said.
Yeah. So yeah, so it's great. So if you're listening to this and you have symptoms, just know that your body is giving you a message, and there are ways and tools that you can address it and that you can heal. And I love, Julie, that you say celiac, gluten intolerance, that you can actually heal this, because I,
Yes.
I don't eat gluten, and people told me that that's it for life, which I never believed anyway, but I wasn't sure how to really go about it, until I talked to you. And the same with thyroid. How many women, especially in this country or in the world, are on thyroid medication? And
Yeah.
so you said that you know people that have gotten rid of their thyroid medication.
Yes, including me.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So that's so inspiring, Julie.
Yeah, and the thyroid is affected by everything, and many times it has to do with toxins. So the detox programs that I use are really effective. And so I love the combination of the tools that I have. Um, in our world today, unfortunately we're exposed to a plethora of toxins. We're breathing in through our water, even through our food. Today, even organic food has some toxicity because there's glyphosate in the water, in the rain. So so definitely detox is part of it, and removing toxins from our environment as much as we can, and then really going through our life and looking at the different traumas that we've experienced and uncovering where we've stored those in our body, so that we can because they are one of the main underlying causes of our chronic conditions. And so all these different tools are really effective in just dissolving those old hurts and freeing us, giving us more ability to be present in our body. And so, and then I have all different kinds of tools for for breath work and using trigger points to get rid of pain, and then I have programs for exercise and programs to help people learn how to cook, because some people don't really know how to keep their household in nutrient dense foods. And it seems basic, but a lot of people don't have the basic tools. They didn't get trained. And so that's part of what I do as well. And then working with people and their relationships. I've done a lot of personal growth work, and my husband and I have been through a lot and learned a lot. And so I've helped many people to improve their marriages and even stay married. And because many times I think it's just that people don't have good help. They don't have good tools in marriage, and they don't really understand what it's about. It's the messages that we get from the media today are a little unrealistic, I think, in terms of what it really means to be married and to be committed. And so I have excellent tools. And then also helping people to come from a place of learning how to take 100% responsibility for their life. And that's a really big one. And I work, every session that I do with people, we're continually working on that, because we've been trained to sort of blame circumstances and other people and so forth. And no matter what we've done in our lifetime, it's not that we're bad, but we can take 100% responsibility for everything that's happened to us, and it's so empowering. Otherwise we're coming at life from a victim perspective, and it just keeps us stuck in the same old. We become like psychological furniture, right? We never change. But taking 100% responsibility it's really an act of courage, and puts us in charge of our life. Instead of letting circumstances and habits control us, then we're actually in charge.
I love that. I love what you're saying, and 100% agree. And that's what I'm enjoying in your program, is that you engaging me, because we are, as a society, we like to just take a pill and make the
Yeah,
symptom go away.
right.
And a few months ago, I was so focused on my business that my body, it annoyed me that I even had to feed it. It was just this appendage that was in the way of me not doing. And that's a not very healthy way to look at the body. And so I'm so glad that I've gotten out of this, and now really I'm starting to cook better food, and I'm getting more, yeah, back in tune with my body and honoring it, because without health we don't have anything, right?
Right, right. Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's why this episode is called Optimize Your Health, Optimize Your Life.
Yes, right. Right.
Yeah. And I love you have got so many different tools and different angles you're working on, and all the incremental changes we are making, they add up, right? And it's a 6 month program that you offer to your clients. Is that?
Yeah, exactly. That's normally what I like to do is put people on a 6-month program because it takes time to make these little changes.
Mm,
And I do follow the client's lead, though. What works for you, because some people can change things immediately, and other people take time. They take weeks to make one change.
mm,
So I follow. I take the lead from the client.
mm.
Um,
Yeah. Well, that's great, Julie. And so, how did you living your dream? How is that changing you?
wow.
Because something I've learned is that when we step into our dream, things happen not just, for the other people, but also the dream changes us.
Yeah, nice, great question. I love that question. Um, well, it's given me just having my own business as a woman, and I do everything myself at this point. You're going to help me figure out my next steps, but hiring assistants. But just it's been so empowering for me to have my own business and doing everything myself. And my two daughters, I it feels really good that my two daughters are even proud of me. Like, Mom, I can't even believe it. You figured out how to use social media. That's amazing.
Nice to have somebody in your corner, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
great.
So, and yeah, I feel accomplished. So
Hmm.
yeah, that's nice. That was a life dream also for me. Just knowing that I could be independent, totally independent if I needed to be. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, that's great. That's great. And so, what for all of our listeners right now, what would you say to a woman who may have a dream in her heart but hasn't really, done anything about it? What would you tell her?
To just take one little step at a time. You
Hmm.
know, what do they say? The way to eat an elephant is one bite at a time, right? But just dive off the diving board and just take one little step, and that will give you the confidence to make the next step. But and also write create a vision for yourself. Write down what is your dream, and even I do this with my clients, but have them even create a vision board, with all the different aspects and pictures and images of exactly what it is that you're wanting, and then post it on your wall, so that you're walking by that every day, and your subconscious mind is manifesting it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's the first step of dream building, is to actually create the dream. Ask ourselves, what would you love? And then create the dream. And then exactly what you said is just take one little step. because even one little steps, like you said, you eventually you've eaten the elephant, right? And you're this amazing health coach. And so, Julie, how can people reach you?
Well, I also want to say that I'm taking your dream building course and I'm just loving it. I'm really loving it because it's helping me to figure out what the next steps are for me. Yeah, it's very empowering and inspiring. So
Oh,
thank
well,
you.
thank you. Thank you. And I love that coaches also have coaches. Like I have a health coach and you
Yeah,
have
exactly.
a mindset, empowerment coach. So
Yeah, we all need all the help we can get, right? It's not easy to live in this world, right? So it's wonderful to have as much help as we can get. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, I appreciate you just as much. So thank you. Yeah. And yeah, how can people reach you, Julie?
My website is julietilt.com, and you can find me there. And my email is julie@julietilt.com.
Okay. Wonderful. And social media, or you're on Facebook too on
I
here.
am on Facebook. I'm on Facebook and
Yeah.
Instagram and yes, and LinkedIn, right?
Okay. Well, Julie, thank you so much for being here and for sharing your wisdom and your expertise and your knowledge with our listeners. And yeah, you're doing amazing work in the world, and I'm cheering you on. And yeah, to all our listeners, I'm sure you're all inspired by Julie and what she's doing and going for her dreams and overcoming imposter, feeling and yeah. So if you feel like there's a dream that you would love to build and you would love some support, either with your health, we got Julie right here, or with your dreams, yeah, please reach out and get in touch because this is my passion and my purpose to support you in building your dreams. And so, thank you again, Julie, so much. What a
So
great
much.
episode. And I look forward to seeing you next week for another great episode of Dreamers and Doers.
Thank you, Carolina. You're a wonderful interviewer.
Thank you so much, Julie. Take care. And bye
Okay.
bye, everybody.